For this project, any category 4 yarn will work, but I used a half a skein of Lion Brand's Pound of Love in Elephant Gray. As for tools, a 4mm hook, scissors, stitch markers, and a tape measure. There is a written pattern down below. Use offer code TCDDIY for a discount off any $9.99 plus order. Watch to the end of the video to learn how to enter this week's giveaway. We're using 4 stitches for this project, and they will be as follows: chain, slip stitch, single crochet, half double crochet, and double crochet. This tutorial is for a size small, but you can adjust it for your size, and we explain how to in the video, so let's get started. Getting this top started, we are first going to grab our category 4 yarn and make a slip knot. Next, we are going to grab our 4mm hook and start off by making a chain that goes from our underarm down to where we want the bottom of this top to be, keeping in mind that we will have about an inch for our strap as well. So I'm going to start off by making a chain of 8.5 inches or 22 centimeters, or that comes out to about 42 chains. And mine will be a crop top, but go ahead and make this longer if you guys want more length to your top. Once we have our chain, what we're going to do from here is block off that last chain, do a chain up of 1, and then into that chain that we blocked off, or the second chain from our hook, we're going to go in with a slip stitch. So go ahead and insert, yarn over, and pull through everything. Let's do the next one together. Insert into that next chain, yarn over, and pull through everything. And we're going to keep doing this going all the way down our chain. And I know that we do a lot of slip stitches within this channel, and we get a lot of questions on how to get the same look but with a different stitch, because some slip stitches may be a little tighter than others. And if you guys want, then you guys are more than welcome to go into this row with a single crochet row, and then the rest of this pattern with back loop single crochets. And now that we've made our way all the way down with our first row, we're going to need to do an increase from here. So from here, we're going to do a chain out of 2 and flip our work. And into that second chain that we have from our hook, we're going to go in with a back loop slip stitch. So go ahead and insert your hook into that back loop, and we're going to yarn over and pull through that stitch, and that counts as our increase. And then from here, we're going to go all the way down, putting 1 slip stitch into every back loop, going all the way down. And this is basically the pattern for the rest of this section of the body portion. So we're just going to keep doing this until this part that we have right here goes from our side over to the front of our body. And don't mind if this doesn't go all the way up to our shoulder or our collarbone, whatever the case may be, because we are going to have a border as well. So do back loop slip stitches down to the end. Do a chain up of 1 and flip, and when you work your way back, maintain doing an increase on this side. We're going to keep doing this until this reaches the front of our body, and when we're measuring it up to ourselves, we're going to make sure to stretch it as if we're wearing it, because it's a stitch that has more give. I'll meet you guys back just after a few rows. Alright, so we are back, and we have just finished up going in with our underarm portion that we have right here, and I know it looks awfully small, but like I said in the previous clip, this does stretch quite a bit. And unstretched, I have a total width of 3.5 inches or 8 centimeters, or a total of 21 rows if you guys want to follow my pattern. But once when we have this, we are now just going to do a chunk that goes straight across our chest. So we're not going to be doing any more increases. We're just going to do a chain up of 1 at each end, and then just go all the way back down with back loop slip stitches. And we're just going to keep going back and forth like that until this reaches the other side of our chest, and then we're going to do another decrease portion just like this. So I'll meet you guys back after we have this entire section finished up. Alright, so we are back, and we have just finished up going in with the body portion. And from the first row all the way until where I ended, I have a total of 59 rows, or in total, unstretched, I have a total of 8 inches or 20 centimeters. And we are now ready to get started on the other underarm portion, which is pretty much the same thing that we did on this side, but with decreases instead of increases. We're going to be decreasing into every other row, since we increased into every other row on this side. And last tip is that if you guys actually ended on the bottom, you guys can do one of 2 things. Either just do back loop slip stitches coming all the way up so that we can all start on the same side, which is completely fine. It won't give you any extra room. Or you guys can stay down there and then work your way up, leaving the last 2 stitches, and then just do back loop slip stitches into there. But either way, I'm going to show you guys how to do that right now. So when we're ready to get started to do our back loop slip stitches, decreasing, what we're going to do is, depending on what side we're on, I'm going to be doing a chain up of 1 and flipping my work. And I'm going to insert my hook into that first available back loop, yarn over, pull through, and then into that next available back loop. We should have 3 loops on our hook. From here, we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 stitches, and that is how we decrease. From here, we're just going to work our way all the way down, putting, without splitting the yarn, putting 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch that we have. And then when we work our way back up, or your next row, depending on what direction you guys are going, we aren't going to be doing anything into that next row, since we are only going to be doing decreases into every other row. So we're going to keep doing that until we end up having the same amount of stitches that we have along this side. And then the last row that we should have for this underarm portion should have the same amount of stitches as we made for our initial chain. So I will meet you guys back once we have this entire chunk finished up, do a chain up of 1 and cut once we have that last row, and then I'll show you guys how to do the back panel. Alright, so we are back with the entirety of our front panel, and I ended up having a total of 79 rows, or the total width that we have is 11 inches or 29 centimeters unstretched. And we're actually going to get started on the back panel. The back panel is going to be very similar to this one, but not quite the same. I'm just going to explain it to you guys really quickly. What we're going to do is end up making a chain of the same amount as the first chain that we made. So mine was a total of 42 chains. And then from here, we're going to start doing our increases going up. And then we're going to go past where we stopped to go in with the body portion, because the back panel is going to be more of a racer back. So it's going to come up just a little bit further. So what I'm going to do is get started on this portion where I'm going to start increasing. I'm going to go in with my total of increasing rows, and then I'll meet you guys back to let you guys know how many rows I ended up going in with, and then we can move on from there. Alright, so we are back, and we have just finished up going in with the underarm portion that we had for the back panel. And as you guys can see, it is a smidge bit taller than my front panel. So I ended up going in with a total of 31 rows for the first portion of our back piece. And then I also had a width of 4 inches or about 10 centimeters. And from here, just like how we did the front, we're going to go straight across with our back portion, but we want our front and our back piece to come out with the same amount of rows. So what we're going to do is take the number of rows that we have for the front panel, subtract it with the number of rows that we have for the underarm portion for the back, because we're going to have the same amount of rows for the other side, and then whatever number we have, we're going to make that amount of rows. So all we're going to do is do a chain up of 1, flip our work, and then just put 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch that we have, going back and forth until we have fulfilled that amount of rows that we need. And then I'll meet you guys back just so we can start off doing our other underarm portion together, but it's just going to be the same as we did the other side. But I'll meet you guys back anyways. We have just made our way down with the tiny back portion that we have for our back piece, and from where I started all the way down to where I ended, I have a total of 49 rows, or the width is 6 inches or 15 centimeters. And from here, we're just going to start off our other underarm portion the same way that we started off the front panel, by doing some decreases into every other row. So we're just going to get started with our decrease of 2 back loop slip stitches together into this top corner, and then I'll let you guys do the rest on your own. So since I ended up at the top, what I'm going to be doing is a chain up of 1 and flip. If you guys ended on the bottom, or if your front panel is different, you guys are basically going to be doing the same thing that you guys have for your front panel, so just adjust from there. But we are going to do our decrease together. So we're going to insert our hook into the first available back loop, yarn over, pull through, and then into the next available back loop. From here, we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on our hook. And from here, we're just going to go all the way down, putting back loop slip stitches, just 1 into every stitch, do a chain up of 1 once we get to the end, and then work our way back, putting 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch. And we're just going to be decreasing into every other row until we have the same amount of rows that we have for this first underarm portion that we had for the back, double checking and making sure that we ended up with the same amount of stitches as chains that we made. So I'll meet you guys back once when all of that is done. We have just finished up going in with our back panel, and the next thing we're going to have to do is go in with a row of single crochet along the tops of both pieces that we have. I've already gone in to the tops of my back panel. They're going to be done this same exact way, so we're just going to do the front together. So all this is we're going to start this off by inserting our hook into this top corner loop, inserting our yarn onto our hook and pulling through. Once we have that, we're just going to be putting 1 single crochet into every side slip stitch row that we have going all the way across the top. Once we get to the other end, we're going to do a chain up of 1 and cut. But the only thing that we're going to do is once when we get to this corner, we're just going to be sure to insert our stitch markers just so we know where our armhole starts and ends. So we're just going to do the first few together. Once we have our hook inserted, we're going to do a chain up of 1. And just to do the next one together, we're going to be inserting our hook into this first side slip stitch row and single crochet. And this may be a little tricky because we don't have any real loops for us to go into, but we're just going to have to eyeball and see whichever one is on top. The next one is this little divot that I have right here. There's my next single crochet. This next side slip stitch row is this raised one, so I'm going to single crochet into there. And we're just going to keep doing that, going all the way around, making sure that we are inserting our stitch markers into the correct loops, and we're going to do the same thing to the back panel as well. So we have just made our way all the way around, doing a row of single crochet along the tops of our front and our back panel. And now we can go in with our side seam. I already did one entire side, don't mind this. But what we're going to do is turn our work to its side, and we're going to be inserting our hook into this corner loop that we have into the front panel, and this corner loop that we have into the back panel. Go ahead and insert your yarn onto your hook and then pull through. Once we have that, we're going to do a chain up of 1, and into the first available stitch we have into the front panel, go ahead and insert your hook, and then into the next available stitch we have in our back panel, go ahead and insert your hook into there, and then single crochet. And we are going to keep doing this, going all the way up until we hit this last stitch that we have into this portion, and then I'll meet you guys back so that we can get started on the strap. So we have just finished up seaming up the sides, and what we're going to do next is go straight into doing the strap. The first thing that we're going to have to do is insert our stitch marker, and this is for everyone, doesn't matter what size you guys are doing, but we're going to be inserting our stitch marker into the 6th stitch that we have away from our hook on both sides, so one in the front and one in the back. And we're doing these few rows so that our strap doesn't stick straight out underneath our underarm. So what we're going to do from here is we are all going to get started on our back panel first for pattern's sake. We're going to flip our work if we need, and remember our back panel is the one that has the really long underarm portion right here. So what we're all going to do is start off by doing a chain out of 6. Once we have our chain, we are going to block off that last chain, do a chain up of 1, and then into the first 2 chains we're going to go in with 2 single crochets. So there's 1 single crochet into that first chain. Into the second chain, go in with another single crochet. Into the next 2, we're going to be putting 1 half double into each of those. So there is 1 half double, and then there's 2 half double, and then into the last 2, you guys guessed it, 2 doubles. So 1 double into the 5th, and then 1 double into that 6th. And now we're going to attach it into the back panel. So I'm just going to flip my work so it's easier for me to show you guys how to attach it. But all we're going to do is count up the next 2 stitches, making sure we're going into the back panel, and we're going to slip stitch into that second stitch. So we're going to count up 1, count up 2, insert our hook into that second, yarn over, and pull through everything. And that is how we attach our first row. We're going to be doing 2 more rows of this, so a total of 3. How we start off the next row is by going in to the next 2 stitches, putting 1 slip stitch into each, flipping our work, and then now we're going to go in with back loop stitches. So into the first 2 loops, we're going to go in with 2 back loop double crochets. So there is 1 back loop double, 2 back loop double, 2 back loop half double, and then 2 back loop singles. Now that we're at the end, we're going to do a chain up of 1, flip our work, and then do the same sequence going down, but with back loops. So 2 back loop singles, 2 back loop half doubles, and then 2 back loop doubles. Now we should be at our next stitch marker, so we're going to count up 1, count up 2 stitches. Going to take out the stitch marker because we don't need it anymore. Yarn over and pull through everything, and now this little triangle section is all finished off. And now that we have these 3 rows, we're just going to be going in with rows of back loop half double crochets, going all the way up until we hit this stitch marker. Remember, we inserted those when we were going in with our single crochet on top of our panels, and then we're going to do more rows of back loop half doubles that aren't attached to anything, and that is going to be our strap. So we're just going to start off the next row with each other. We're going to slip stitch up the next 2 stitches, flip our work, and then from here we're going to be putting 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch. And when we get to the end of our back loop half double crochet row, we're going to do a chain up of 2, flip our work, and then just put 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch and insert into the base the same way that we've been doing. We're going to keep going back and forth just like that until we hit this corner stitch marker, and then I'll meet you guys back. We've just finished up going all the way up our back panel for our underarm portion, and from here we're just going to go back and forth with back loop half double crochets, just putting 1 into every stitch. So just to start off this section with you guys, we're going to do a chain up of 2 and then put 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch that we have, and we're going to keep going until we get a length that can go up and over our shoulder that will connect to the front panel. Now I have already measured mine out, and I'm going to have a total of 9 inches or 23 centimeters going all the way up from our back panel to the stitch that we have right here. And the only thing that I have to mention for you guys before I let you go is to make sure that when we're going in with our back loop half double crochets, we're going to end along the inside. And by the inside, I mean the side that is closest to the body, so that we don't need to cut and tie and then reattach into this corner so that we can slip stitch into this corner. I'll meet you guys back in the next slip just to let you guys know what I mean. But other than that, go ahead and keep going with your back loop half double crochets. We are now back with the entirety of our strap, and like I said in the previous clip, I did end along the inside, which is the corner that is closest to the body portion. And I ended up having a total of 39 rows, and that is including these rows that we first started off with as well. But once when we get here, we're actually going to slip stitch into this corner stitch marker that we have, and then we're going to do our back loop half double crochets going all the way down until we hit this stitch marker, and then we're going to do the same singles to half doubles to doubles that we did when we started off this entire strap. So what we're going to do from here is slip stitch it into that stitch that our stitch marker is in. We're going to yarn over and pull through. And now that we're into that corner stitch, we're going to be slip stitching into the next two to work our way up to the next row. So into that next stitch that we have, slip stitch 1, slip stitch 2, flip our work, and then just go straight in with our back loop half double crochets until we hit our next stitch marker. So we are back, and I have just made my way all the way down to where my stitch marker was. I did take mine out because I don't need it anymore, but from here we're just going to do the same thing that we did when we started off this entire section. And this part is all going to vary depending on whether if you guys end at the top or at the bottom like me, but it's all pretty much going to be the same. Just as an example, if you guys ended at the top, you guys are going to do a chain up of 1, and then do 2 back loop singles, 2 back loop half doubles, 2 back loop doubles, and then basically just repeat the same thing that we did on this other side. We're just starting off a little differently. But just to start off this section with you guys, I'm going to slip stitch into the next 2 stitches. So there's 1, and there's 2. From here we're going to flip our work, and then I'm going to start off by doing 2 back loop double crochets, 2 back loop half double crochets, and then 2 back loop singles. And we're going to repeat, so do a chain up of 1 and flip, and then do 2 back loop singles, 2 back loop half doubles, 2 back loop doubles, and then another row of 2 back loop doubles, 2 back loop half doubles, 2 back loop singles, and then I'll meet you guys back so that we can seam this up. So we've just made our way down. We don't have any more loops left to go into when it comes to this underarm portion, and now we're just going to seam everything up together. We are first going to want to make sure that our seams are all facing the same direction, and then we're going to insert our hook into the corner loop that we have into the front panel, and then also into the corner loop that we have in the back panel. Mine just so happens to be my loop. We're going to pull through. From here we're going to do a chain up of 1 to secure, and then insert your hook into that first available stitch that we have into the front panel, next available stitch that we have into the back panel, and single crochet. And keep doing that going all the way down until we don't have any more stitches left. Once we don't, do a chain up of 1 and cut, and then do this entire sequence here on the other side, and then I'll meet you guys back so we can do just one more thing. Now that we have both of our straps done, the last thing we're going to do is just go in with this top border that we're going to have, only going into the front. So what we're going to do is first turn our work to the side, and then we're going to take a look at these 2 rows that we have that is coming straight out of this corner. So there's 1 row, and then there's 2 rows right here. We're going to be inserting our hook, and then we're going to insert our hook into the loop that we have in between that 2nd and 3rd row. And from here we're going to work along the length. So just to start this off, we are going to insert our yarn onto our hook, pull through, and do a chain up of 2. That counts as a half double crochet. And we have these 2 rows that we have that's right next to the front single crochet row that we just did. So we're going to be putting 2 single crochets into each of these half side double crochet rows. So we're going to prepare for a half double crochet, go into this first side half double with 1 half double, and then going into that same loop there is 2 half doubles. Then we're going to do the same thing into the next side half double crochet row. It should be the one that's right next to this work. So we're going to prepare into that next side half double. There is 1, and then into that same one here is 2. And once when we have that, we are going to be slip stitching into the second stitch that we have going into the single crochet section. So we're going to count 1, count 2, go into that second one with a slip stitch, and this is going to be pretty much the same way that we went in with our strap. Let's just do the next one together and let you guys do the rest on your own. So we're going to slip stitch up the next 2 stitches. There's 1, there's 2, and flip our work. And from here, just put 1 back loop half double crochet into each stitch that we have. And then once we make our way down to the end, do a chain up of 2, flip our work, and then do the same thing going all the way down. And we're going to be repeating these rows going all the way down until we don't have any more stitches left to go into. Then I'll show you guys how to connect it into here. We've just made our way all the way down going in with our front border, and all we're going to do from here is just seam up these 2 sides that we have. We're just going to want to make sure that all of our seams are faced the same directions. So let me just flip mine wrong side out really quick. So now that my work is flipped wrong side out, what we're going to do from here is just seam this up. But we are going to want to make sure that we are inserting our hook first into the same loop that we inserted our hook into when we started this off. So from here, from this corner, we're going to count up 1, 2 of the half double crochet rows, and then in between the second and the third, there's going to be a loop right in between there. Go ahead and insert your hook into there. And then also into this loop that we have for this row right here. And from here, we're going to pull through, do a chain up of 1 to secure. And then we're just going to go in putting 2 single crochets into each of the side half doubles. So once into that first stitch, so we're going to insert into that side half double, once into that next stitch, single crochet, and then the next single is going to go into that same side half double, but into the next stitch into the back, and single crochet. And I just have 1 more to go, so let's do this together. Go ahead and insert your hook into that next side half double, into that next stitch we have into the back, single, into that same side half double, insert our hook into that next stitch into the back, and single. And from here, go ahead and do a chain up of 1 and cut. And now that we have attached that, we are actually all done. The last thing we have to do is just weave in all of our ends. Our ends are woven in, and this is our finished tank. This is an easy piece to make and would match pretty much everything in your closet, so go ahead and make this cropped or as a long tank top and you're ready to go. There's a written pattern down below. Use offer code TCDDIY for a discount off any $9.99 plus order. Enter this week's pattern giveaway by telling us your favorite summer memory. Good luck to everyone who enters. Also, if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up because believe it or not, it actually helps. And be sure to share us on Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, and Facebook, links down below. Link to our Etsy page is down there too if you want to buy this piece or any other piece on the channel. And be sure to favorite the shop so you don't miss out on new patterns and exclusive deals. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.